Oh, I lost the freaking description. Hold on one second. Ah, I found it. Sorry, folks. We're just going live. We'll be up and live here in just a minute. I've got to get the Facebook and the Telegram going, and we will be with you in one moment. Breaking news, Tesla and Doge get doxed. We're going to be going into showing some of what's been put up in the last couple of days. Breaking news, Tesla and Doge get doxed. We're going to be going into showing some of what. Shit. Sorry about that feedback loop. I hate it when that happens. Anyway, so yeah, sorry. Before I lost my train of thought because of my own voice. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit heated because of this whole thing, because this really pisses me off because American lives are being put at risk. And we found some links to some interesting, but definitely connections to some potentially terror groups, in my opinion, based on this findings. So, and we're not going to now. Normally, like we normally would do, is put the sources in the link or in the description. The source links in the description. I do not want to do that for this site because I don't want to be responsible for anybody getting harmed because of the information that is on the site. But we are going to cover it, and it's not that hard to find if you just look up the name. But this is a huge story, and this is not okay, people. I mean, I don't condone what's going on here. This is bullshit. You know, it's not only has target people that are that are trying to do this work, their information being put out there, but their family members' private residences as well, and that's not okay. And I don't give a fuck what the use is. This is clear acts of obviously they're trying to put this out there, this information out there, so people can go out there and take action. Obviously, because of what's going on with all these alleged protests, so-called protests, which are not protests, folks, and we're going to prove it tonight. Yeah.
I think you'll see, once you see the evidence, I think you'll see that for yourself.
Yeah. But I went and immediately, once I heard the story, I went and immediately looked it up and started digging into it. And we're going to show you guys what we found. So with that being said, also the JFK files have been released today, at least the first batch of them. We have many more to go. There's only been so far, how many thousand? 2,000 were on this first dump today?
Actually, I think it was over 20,000 documents
that were released today.
Yeah, well, that's what I saw. Yeah, 21.
So there's still 80. There's still 80,000, right?
I don't know. What I looked at was that when we were looking at the document, it was like
6. Yeah, there's a lot there to cover and get into, folks. There's a lot going on. And we imagine that there's going to be more dumps in the days and weeks to follow. As in the Epstein files, we also have that's from last month. For any of those who didn't know, nobody really made a big fuss about it in the media. They kind of ignored it, but it's there. At least phase 1 is from the URL structuring is what it looks like. They're going to be doing it in phases. That's just using common sense based on that. It looks like they're going to be doing it in several phases. Anyway, so let's get into the story. This is interesting and very, very alarming, but we're going to get right into it. So let me bring up the post and then I'm going to have you read it. I'm going to also have you read the other one, the little about section for their site, because it really got under my skin, and I'm not going to be able to hold it. I'm going to get mad, and I'm going to start fucking going off at the mouth. And I don't want to do that. I want people to have a clear, concise idea of what's going on here. So I'm going to let you do that.
All right.
Cool. So let's begin. Let me share my screen. All right, so encouraging destruction of Teslas throughout the country is extreme domestic terrorism. That's according to Elon Musk. Now that post, this was a tweet earlier. It's in the description. I'm going to go to the post that he was reposting. This is by Mario Nakwal. I don't even know if I pronounced that right. And go ahead, Robin. You want to read it?
Yeah. Let me go to full screen. Maybe I can see a little better.
Let me make it bigger for you. How's that? Oh, way too big. Hold on.
You'll have to share your screen before I'll be able to really see it.
Oh, you're not able to see it?
I mean,
I thought I shared my screen. Let's try it again. Can you see it?
Tesla owners doxed, sell your car or stay on the list. A website called Doge has reportedly published the names, addresses, and phone numbers of Tesla owners across the U.S., complete with an interactive map and a Molotov cocktail cursor. The site claims it will only remove personal data if owners prove they've sold their Teslas, in an apparent backlash to Elon's ties with the Trump administration. This comes as Tesla dealerships face gunfire, arson attempts, and Cybertruck owners report harassment, while anti-Tesla protests ramp up nationwide. From the New York Post.
So these are screenshots, folks, from the New York Post, but we also went ahead and took our own. We did not list this domain in the source links, but it's easy enough to find based on these screenshots. Just do a quick Google search. And as you can see, we got the Molotov cocktail right there as a mouse cursor. They've got the residences of Doge employees, Tesla car owners,
and their families,
gas pumps, or Tesla, no, not gas pumps, Tesla electric pumps.
Charging stations.
Charging stations or whatever. I'm still not used to those. But you're right. That's the correct terminology. And then dealerships. And so this came up yesterday. This site apparently was put up yesterday, according to Wayback Machine. We also have their about statement. What is DOGED? You want to go ahead and read that?
DOGED is the ultimate hub for enthusiasts of the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge. Our innovative platform allows users to explore an interactive map of Doge landmarks. But that's not all. We also cater to Tesla Motors owners, providing a comprehensive resource to locate nearby service centers, showrooms, and charging stations, all at their fingertips. This is all sarcasm. Leveraging our cutting-edge artificial intelligence algorithms, DOGED goes a step further by connecting like-minded Tesla owners with one another, facilitating a vibrant community through shared contact information. Join us as we revolutionize the way Doge fans and Tesla owners connect and explore. Is DOGED a protest platform? If you're on the hunt for a Tesla to unleash your artistic flair with a spray can, just step outside, no map needed. At DOGED, we believe in empowering creative expressions of protest that you can execute from the comfort of your own home. DOGED neither endorses nor condemns any actions. Before you embark on any adventure, we highly recommend checking out the No Trace project. I want my information removed. Absolutely. Just provide us with proof that you've sold your Tesla. Email takedown at DOGED. We only accept scanned documents in JPG and PNG formats. Can I mirror this website? Of course, anticipating that some might try to take us down, we've designed DOGED to be super easy to mirror. It's just a single HTML file. No backend or external services required. Simply save the page from your browser. To display the map, you'll need to supply your own ProtoMaps tile set. Grab one from blanked out, redacted, save the PMT files, PM tiles as tiles.pm tiles in the same folder as the DOGED HTML file. You can reduce the size of the PM tiles file from around 120 gigabytes to about 15 gigabytes by extracting just the United States using Go PM tiles. Now, host both the HTML file and PM tiles from the same directory using any web server that supports range requests. Seriously, any web server will do, and voila, you're all set. Go back to DOGED. So, I can't hear you, Stephen. You're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. I want to touch on the No Trace project that they said they highly recommend checking out. Let's go investigate what that site is and what's on there, because this looks very much like well, I hate to say it, but it looks like it might be associated with the pro-Palestinian movement, the ones that are freaking really, really violent. Or some formation thereof.
No trace, no case, a collection of tools to help anarchists and other rebels understand the capabilities of their enemies, understand surveillance efforts, and ultimately act without getting caught.
Now, let me go and point out this source right here at the top. Says new source, and it looks like it's out of Denmark. If you go and click on it, it takes you here, and then you go down here. Now, we do have the links to this document in the description for those that want to verify this actual document. So I went and was looking at some what's posted on there, see what kind of content they have and they're promoting, just to kind of get an idea of who these people are and who's obviously what their ideology is. Now, when you go and open this up, if you go and scroll down to page 20, that says it's titled "Not liking someone doesn't mean they're a cop" on bad jacketing. That's fun. I've never seen this put quite so like that. But this appears to be interesting. So I want you to, can you read this for us?
Sure.
Are you able to see it better? All right. So they just
naming our enemies.
he's up to this last part right here, 21. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The epidemic of bad jacketing is inseparable from the problem of peace policing. Many organizers advocate for a policy of de-escalation at all costs, even in the face of potentially deadly violence from police and Zionists. They speak of agitators who disrupt and escalate peaceful protests, a nebulous euphemism that they apply to both the Zionist who shows up with a knife and the militant who comes prepared to fight back. We should be clear, our enemies are not agitators. Our enemies are the police who brutalize us and lock us away to enforce settler colonial order. Our enemies are Zionists and other white supremacists who assault and harass us in the streets and stalk and threaten us in our everyday lives. Our enemies are politicians and other establishment liberals who carry out colonial and imperialist genocides. Here in Palestine and around the world, all the while crying crocodile tears about a so-called humanitarian crisis that they created. Our enemies are legacy media institutions who smear resistance as terrorism and mobilize support for each of these attacks. We must take care to differentiate between antagonistic and non-antagonistic contradictions and to distinguish between enemies and potential friends. Too often, we see organizers reject co-strugglers in order to appeal to liberal institutions that will never be on our side. They may frame the conservative path as the only strategic option, rejecting open support for armed struggle, militant direct action, and anything else that would create bad optics. Disagreements from co-strugglers are treated as threats, worse than that of liberal media, who we must appeal to for sympathy, or Zionists and cops, who we must appease for our safety. When our enemies attack us anyways, these organizers pin the blame not on the perpetrators, but on the co-strugglers who deviate from their line. They forget to be attacked by the enemy is not a bad thing, but a good thing. Our enemies do not strive for unity with us, knowing that ours is an antagonistic contradiction, knowing that our collective liberation requires their annihilation. It is better that we too abandon any notion of conciliation and recognize our enemies as enemies. For all these reasons, we urge people to draw a clear line of demarcation between the enemy and ourselves. Abandon the euphemisms and name our enemies. When we struggle through our differences, let us do so with a shared understanding of what we are for and what we are against.
Wow. Now that's just some of the linked resources they have on that site, notrace.how. And now, based on this, now I'm sure there's other documents as well that might have other context, but just based on this alone, I'd say this is connected to terrorism. I mean, specifically for a number of reasons. We don't advocate for violence against people, one, in this country. We're not supposed to anyway. Now, it appears to me it looks to me like they're attacking Americans as a whole, based on the wording of this.
Right. This is pretty much a blanket attack against anyone who doesn't endorse their views. And that
message for all the freaking mainstream media out there. If you're out there saying, "Oh, this is just protest. Oh, you shouldn't arrest these people," you're part of the fucking problem.
If
you're knowingly endorsing this shit,
right,
against American citizens, fuck you, and fuck you for all your lies and fucking complicity and fucking spreading the fucking a false narrative that's misleading people and leading to people getting hurt. I'm sorry, I had to think. I'm visibly agitated.
It's infuriating. It is an open call for terrorist attacks, and that's what's happening, is terrorist attacks in the United States of America, citizens turning on citizens, people, the people on the right, if they don't like Bud Light, then they buy a six-pack and blow it up. like Kid Rock famously did with shooting up a six pack. But that's very different when you buy something and it's your property and you destroy it. Well, you're well within your rights. Anyone can do that. That is a legitimate form of protest. However, to assault some other person's property is it's absolutely the opposite. This is when you move into terrorist attacks. These attacks in Las Vegas, where I don't know if people have seen that, but attacks in Las Vegas where they're burning Teslas. These
Got me riled up this morning.
Yeah, these attacks against Tesla
Oh,
dealerships. This open hostility where they've got a Molotov cocktail cursor and all of the various locations of people that own Teslas and places where you can buy Teslas, or and all the charging stations. This is an attempt to incite violence. This is an attempt to provoke terrorist acts. And
yes,
we want to be loud and clear when we say we stand completely against this. This is
exactly.
anti-American and
Completely
anti-good government and anti-everything that's good and decent in human beings. This is not the way that to handle our disagreements. And anyone who says that it is part of the problem and is
boycott. We don't destroy things.
right, right. You don't like Tesla, boycott. Arrange a boycott. Work on a boycott. If you don't like that, if you don't like what Doge is doing, well, first of all, there's a lot of good reasons why people don't like what Doge is doing. Lots of people are losing their jobs. Lots of people are being put out in the streets that have been in government jobs. And I'm sure that there's a lot of those that were doing legitimate work that are now unable to work and have to figure something out for their families. There's nothing that seems very right or great about that. But the reality is, if we don't improve the if we don't stop the flagrant waste and ridiculous absurdity of how much money the American taxpayers are flooding the world with for things that have nothing to do with the well-being of American citizens, then we're bankrupting our country, and that's happening very rapidly. The national debt now exceeds the entire Department of Defense budget. So, and that's one of the largest expenses in our government, perhaps the largest expense. And so
Well, it
that
is if it passes that budget.
that
I
yeah,
say, well, it
we
is
are
the largest.
we're rushing towards the abyss. We're rushing over a cliff, and there won't be money for anything. We won't be able to run the government. We won't be able to have any government programs because all of our money, all of our taxes will soon be going to pay the national debt unless we stop the flagrant, rampant, out of control spending that has been the norm in our government for way too long now, many, many years, under both Democrat and Republican administrations. We've got to stop it. And that is what Doge is doing. And so, of course, there's going to be flashback. Of course, there's going to be kickback. Of course, people aren't going to like it. That's perfectly reasonable and understandable. But to then engage in terrorist activities against the people that are working to help America to control this out of control spending that is destroying our country and undermining everyone's ability to live in the country, that's, I feel, a very grave error and a
Yeah.
very and we have to stop this. We have to speak out in no uncertain terms against this kind of activity, and that's what we're here to do.
So we did a WHOIS search on this domain to find out who the owner is. And this is the result that it came up with. It says created date 3/17/2025 at, well, pretty late in the evening, literally last night.
Yeah, 3 hours before midnight. Or no,
Okay, so this isn't even
less
for
than an
24
hour
hours.
before midnight.
Yeah, wow. And then we got registrant organization NJALLA Octa
Okta LLC.
OKTA LLC postmaster, and then they have same name right there with a hyphen between it. Registrant street Arthur L. Evelyn Building, Charlestown. Registrant zip code KN 0802. Um, and if you look up the country code for the registered country, it's KN, and we looked it up. And what country did it come back to? It came back to.
Comes back the Federation of St. Christopher and Nevis, some islands, St. Kitts and Nevis.
Are we
And
sure that that's
Kitts
the
and
right one,
Nevis,
or was it? Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we had Puerto
that's
Rico.
what it
Yeah, that's
is.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Saying that. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
yeah. But there was another one. Um, oh yeah, yeah. No, that's right. So the domain. Oh, I'm trying to remember where we
well,
saw that. We
it
just
was right near the top, buddy. It was the um St. Kitts. Wait,
right there. No, but didn't we have another one? Okay. Anyways, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think.
I'm trying to get you to it. Um, the two
Oh
islands
yeah,
listed,
yeah, yeah.
both located in
I
the West
know.
Indies and the
The
Leeward
universe.
Islands.
Oh, that's a different one though. Should we even?
Yeah, we're not there yet. You're jumping ahead. Just go back a
I
minute.
am jumping ahead. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
All right. An island country consists of two islands, St. Kitts and Nevis, both located in the West Indies, the Leeward Islands chain of Lesser Antilles, with 261 square meters, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. What was it we're looking for?
We were looking for the
Um,
okay country abbreviation. Here, we're just going to do this. What country abbreviation is KN? Oh, that's right. We did have it right. My bad. Okay, because we
yeah.
did look it up.
Yeah, but when we started to look deeper,
Well,
we
yeah, there was
found
more
that
to it than that.
the website that we were looking at was under the University of Puerto Rico. Uh,
Well, that's the. But see, if you look, that's why I was trying to make the distinction because if it says registering country, that's the country code. The domain top level domain extension is a different thing. Usually, that's when I looked it up for country.
mhm.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it, but it's .st. Well, what country is the top domain st for? This is what comes up. .st is the official domain ending for Sao Tome and Principe, a country located on the archipelago of off the Atlantic coast of Africa or in the Gulf of Guinea. So what we were looking at before was the country code. Because usually that's where if it was in the US, it would say USA, right? And it would
Yeah.
have the location.
Go on. Can you scroll down?
Yeah.
Because I
The
think
other
we're
page
on
of
the
this one.
document. Is that the bottom of the document?
It goes a little bit further, but it's basically the same information.
Okay. Um, okay, because we definitely saw the ST,
Right.
and
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
we definitely saw the University of Puerto Rico, which is a
Right.
state university.
Well, the University of Puerto Rico link was on the .kn extension. If they had been .kn as opposed to .st, which is the actual domain extension, but I was actually looking at the country abbreviation right here, KN.
Right.
Right. So it wouldn't have been per se the extension. It would have been the registering country abbreviation, basically.
Mhm.
See, and usually when it's in a different country, they have the city and state be the same. So I think I don't know, dude. I'm trying to figure out where this is at. You know?
Yeah, I know. We went over this really quickly um, to try to get our stuff together here. Um,
Well,
yeah,
in
see, if
any
you look to
case,
the right under .kn that on the TV there, the computer screen, the picture. Um,
right,
if you go down, go no over
right there.
Yeah, University of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, no, I know we went over that, but that was for this result though. But remember that was before I pointed out that it was not the domain, the top level domain extension, but the abbreviation code for the country that it was saying it was from, which is
Uh-huh.
where we kind it could be. We'll look into this further, folks, and we encourage you to as well. Interesting. We'll have to dig deeper on this, but definitely very odd.
The U.S. Commonwealth of Puerto Rico is a government-owned corporation with 11 campuses and approximately 44,200 students and approximately 4,450 faculty members. UPR, University of Puerto Rico, is the largest, most diverse academic offerings in the Commonwealth, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, let's see.
You know what?
It was actually that summary of bullet points on the right-hand side on the
I got an
previous
idea.
that took us to the University of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I got an idea. I'm gonna put it in the address, or I'm just gonna type in Arthur L. Evelyn Building and see if something comes up on maps.
Okay.
No, what? Didn't mean good results there. I don't even know if these are real locations. You know, you can actually put whatever you want in those freaking boxes. I mean, I
Yeah.
know this from being a domain admin myself, so
Hmm.
it doesn't necessarily have to line up to anything. It could just be random info. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's at the top one there, it looks like.
That's freaking interesting.
Arthur L. Evelyn Building, Suite 5, Main Street.
Yeah, but that's in Indiana.
Oh, Charlestown.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
Oh,
saying. It
it
could
says
be,
Charlestown, Nevis, West Indies.
wait, what?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh shit. I didn't see that. Good catch.
Oh, my. You know what was really interesting? That box that you just clicked off
Yeah.
was talking about the uh, the possibility of tax shelters in in this offshore location.
What? Oh, this is, I think, this is it.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Oh, and wait, data from Panama Papers? This has got to be related to Panama. If that's the case, do you see that?
yeah.
Whoa, we just uncovered some new information.
You know what is really fascinating too is that
That's really cool. Yeah, well, not cool, but cool that we discovered the information on the fly like that. Is what I meant.
yeah, and I can't help but recall that Trump is
Did
talking
you
about
collab
buying
on the
back
air,
or
folks?
taking back the Panama Canal. I wonder if there's
Somebody's probably pissed about that.
no kidding, and that could be part of the motivation behind.
Mexico Holdings Ltd. Oh, linked countries. You're right. It was St. Kitts and Nevis. And
Yeah.
if that's the case, then the University of Puerto Rico theory holds up because if you look, it also uses .kn. So both are
Mhm.
associated is what it's telling us, folks,
Yeah.
which makes you right in the first place. And so there, under that theory, it could also be, I think, well, I'd say the IRS is behind it. We know the IRS is a Puerto Rican trust. At least some of us do anyway.
Mhm.
You know? Wow, dude, that's
Wow.
crazy. Holy shit. We just connected two dots there, didn't we? Two big ones.
Yeah, we did.
If anybody's watching this and you can forward this to the proper authorities, that would be great. I don't know if we have the big enough audience, but we worth a shot.
No kidding.
Anyway, so yeah, that's interesting. Wow. Holy fuck. Let's go back to that other document. There we go. Let's see where this goes in Google Maps. Partial match.
Look at that red dot on Main Street right in the middle of the screen.
That's where that location is supposedly at.
Wow. You know, that's also the image that they're.
Wait. This has got to be it right here. It's a pharmacy. What the fuck?
Hmm.
Suite 5 of a pharmacy building. A.L. Evelyn's LTD.
Hmm.
Wow. That's interesting.
Wow.
Huh. Well, it opens at 8 a.m. on Wednesday. And we're going to try and call it and figure out what the fuck's going on here. Holy shit. Now, which country is it? Let's see where this is relative to us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Right off the coast of Puerto Rico, just a couple islands over.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I bet you it's the IRS and the CIA and the well, probably the people that are mad about Panama too.
Yeah, no kidding.
I bet they're doing all this shit through the NGOs, right? What do you want to bet?
No kidding.
Wow.
And you know, we're talking about St. Kitts, we're talking about the British Virgin Islands, we're talking about offshore bank accounts.
Exactly.
So we're talking about big money, and we're talking about government operatives,
Holy shit.
agents hiding money in these places. It wouldn't be out of the question for people who are hiding money and want to stop Elon Musk investigating what they're doing to be organizing a something to take him down. And if all their money is there and they've got resources there, it makes logical sense that might be where this could be, you know, where they could center this to go after him.
Oh,
where they launched this website.
Damn, that's crazy, man. Holy shit, dude. I didn't even imagine it was going to be like that. Like, that was really cool to see us uncover that on the air.
Oh my God.
Wasn't it? That was a perfect example of how it's done, folks.
Oh man. I'm kind of, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just had some revelations there, my friends.
We did.
I don't know if our audience, I hope our audience is sophisticated enough to have kept up with what just happened. Because what happened,
I'm sure they are.
You know,
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
A very niche audience that I brought down.
That's very small. We do have a niche audience of highly intelligent people who probably are right with us or a couple of steps ahead, quite frankly. So, yeah, this is the kind of information that needs to get in the right hands, because we just found some information that is very germane to what's going on, and
you guys, we're still live on the air.
We're still live on the air. That's right.
We did all that live on the air.
Man, oh man.
And we're not done. Well, we are, for the most part, for today. That was our main story. We are going to get into just briefly talk about the Kennedy files that were released and how many more we have to go. But that being said, we are going to do a follow-up to this sometime later in the week, maybe next week, and really dig into these once we've had a chance to really sort through and see what's there. And
Yeah, but
If what you said is true, 20,000, then
go to
we
the
got what?
top, go to the top, and it'll tell you. Okay, go to the bottom. Sorry. Um, and it'll tell you.
What are you looking for?
Showing 1 to 1,123, 1,123 entries, but this is one page. Or
Well,
maybe
no, I've
it's
already had it. So it shows all of
okay,
them in one shot instead of
1,100.
pictures.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
I
we
guess
still got to
it's
go
released now, but there were earlier releases, 2023, 2022,
through.
2021, 2017, 2018.
So there's supposed to be 80,000 pages in total.
Wow.
80,000 extra in addition to what's been already released. That's what I'm wondering.
Wow. So this is just a small
A
taste.
small. This is not even the first. This is just the first dump.
Right. Right. And that's a
I
lot
mean,
of paperwork to go through.
if the Epstein file format is an indication, which I think they're going to be doing these in phases because the first URL says phase one. I don't know if they didn't structure this quite that way, but I'm assuming they're going to be doing several dumps.
And
And you're
we looked at
going
a
to be
few of
pushed back
these.
well by government agencies that don't want certain individuals and agencies that don't want this information to get out. Like
Right.
that are trying to
Right.
keep it. So and from what
I mean, even Trump, when he
it's
was
been pushed back
talking
by
about
Trump.
when Trump
Go
was
ahead.
talking about the release of these files, he mentioned that he originally wanted to just release all of them, but he was sort of hedging a little bit. He said there's some friends of mine that were, good people that had good reasons why they asked me not to just release everything. And and so I don't know, what does that mean? It means that there is some sensitive information, some of these files that that they're wanting to hold back, that the present administration is wanting to hold back. And so it may be that there's that there's some compromising stuff, that there's some stuff that actually compromises our government and that they don't want to release for those reasons.
I
And
imagine three-letter agency involvement for sure.
yeah, I'll bet. I'll bet.
Which is it's kind of interesting the timing of that because yesterday's announcement and then what comes at the heels of that at the late in the evening, the registration of this website. Come
Yeah,
on, come on.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think
I
there's a
mean,
I think there's a connection. I don't believe in
is
coincidence. I think there's a
is
connection.
are they creating a red herring to try to distract the media from this data dump? I mean, this data dump is if it does implicate three-letter agencies in our government, and those three-letter agencies are still active, which we know they are, um,
Well,
then
all you have to do is look at the UFO whistleblower congressional whistleblower freaking narrative that they're pushing about the UFO threat narrative, the UFO threat, and they're calling them UAPs, right? With Lou Elizondo. I mean, he's obviously a counterintelligence agent for anybody that's done their actual deep dives into the UFO subject and looked at what that's actually there. And I can tell you this: there's a connection to aerospace to the JFK files. I can almost guarantee that much.
hmm,
We'll have to wait and see, but I'm convinced there's a connection to the UFO file through aerospace industry as well as through three-letter agencies as well.
man,
That man, I think it's much bigger than we realize. Just
yeah,
my thoughts on it.
I don't have an opinion either way.
But
um,
anyways, folks, wow, what an amazing time to be alive. There's a lot going on. Um, let's try and keep this one short. I don't want to keep it too long, but I
yeah,
wanted to cover that very, very badly.
yeah. No, I think it's very important. With this, we're experiencing terrorist attacks by people who think they're doing the right thing, people who believe that they're on the right side, and uh, they're
Well, you've been complicit in media. Yeah, that blood's on your hands, motherfuckers.
yeah, these,
Talking to the
I mean,
mainstream.
to 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 publish the data on every owner of a Tesla and every all of it, all the data about Tesla, to publish that and then have a cursor that's a Molotov cocktail.
That
This
states
is
pretty clear intent to me.
clearly inciting terrorist acts against Tesla owners, against Tesla resources. This is an organized terrorist group, and people unwittingly go, "Oh wow, I can fight Elon,"
Doge
and
enthusiasts, my ass.
they're going to wind. I know they're going to wind up in
Tesla
prison.
anti-enthusiasts.
They're rightfully going to wind up in prison for terrorist acts for a long, long time. Terrorists don't
Wow.
go away, and that's what the world has come to, where people who, I mean, I was a Democrat for all of my life up until very recently when I just got fed up with too many lies and too much that was just out of harmony
As
with
was I
what I believe. And
for many years.
I couldn't watch anymore, and I couldn't identify with that and pretend like I was okay with it. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And now you have the people on the left. I mean, when I was a kid, we were protesting the Vietnam War. Our
And don't
government,
get us wrong, we're not saying all people on the left. We're just saying the ones that are doing this, that are
right,
being
right.
that are reacting out of fear and out of freaking anger.
Well,
And
exactly my point. You see, when I was a kid, I was at protests against the Vietnam War, and we were against
we were
the
protesting when I was
military-industrial
younger.
complex, the expansionism of the United States, the fighting foreign wars, and I didn't move from that. That's where I stayed. That's why I was a Democrat for many, many years until I see Dick Cheney, who's one of the biggest warmongers in the world, is now endorsed by the Democrat Party. I'm like, that leaves me out.
That makes zero sense to me.
that
It looks like the
that
neocons
puts me
fucking
right
joined
on the
up.
other side because I saw Dick Cheney when in Iraq when he was. I mean, I've seen what this man has done.
Me
Over the
too.
years.
I was fighting during that time to fucking expose them assholes, dude.
Right, right.
And
And
then
now and now
Obama happened, and then I
and now
realized they were
that whole
disruptive. They were freaking
it's
conservatism.
it's like Bizarro world. There in Superman comics when I was a kid, there used to be this thing where every once in a while Superman would shift dimensions and he'd find himself in some place called Bizarro world, where everything
Right,
was
right.
wrong and backwards instead of the way that it normally was. And
Upside down.
that is what the world looks like to me
Right.
as a Democrat. I look at this,
Um,
I go, this is bizarro world. These are not democratic ideals or principles. This is not what the Democrats are about. And I had to back out and just say, that's not me. I can't live with that. But those people still believe that they're doing the right thing and they're on the right side. And I understand that because that was me for many, many years until I just realized there's too much that's going too wrong that's being done in the name of pretending to be on the right side. I couldn't stand it.
you know what I think the problem here is we've allowed ourselves to go down a path of the minute you begin to demonize an individual or any individual or a group of individuals, that becomes a slippery slope because then you can justify doing whatever you want to
Right,
them and make it okay in your mind. And that's
right,
no, I'm
right,
sorry, but that's how you begin to devalue human life in general.
right.
That's the path we're treading down, folks. And make no mistake, don't let our emotions be our triggers. Don't let your emotion cloud your judgment or your objectivity because you don't know if how you're acting is going to affect somebody that's actually innocent. And we know nobody deserves to be put at risk like that. No human being, period. And I don't care what the excuse is. There's no justification for that.
No,
We're
no,
better than that.
no, we are.
We can be better than that.
We are better than that. And people are have a fundamental goodness at their core. And that's what's being corrupted by individuals. And it's not one side or the other because we're all guilty on different levels
Right.
of
Nobody's perfect. We all
of
have our
our
biases, obviously.
yeah. Did you say except Hunter Biden?
No, I said no, no. I said no, no, no. I said, of course, nobody's perfect. We all have our we all have our biases, obviously.
Okay. 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 Well,
That was funny though.
I
That came out
understand.
funny. I bet. That was great. I think that was a great one. That's all right. Final thoughts, and then we'll wrap it up because that was a great way to end it, I think.
Remember, folks, nobody's perfect except Hunter Biden.
Next thing you know, we'll have Hunter Biden perfection memes.
Hunter
Rock
Biden.
Gen.
I can't say it again. I can't continue this. It hurts too much when it's trying to come. I just misheard what you said. We all have our own biases, and it
Yeah.
blinds us to the reality of the world. And if we act on those biases without thought, without careful
That was funny.
examination, then we wind up under mob rule. You know, people individually all are have good in them, and at their core they believe they are good, and they're striving towards being the best that they can be and doing the right thing. This I honestly believe, but the the will of individuals who are seeking power to gain control over the populations of the world. And the way that they do that is propaganda. They'll feed you the story that they think you want to hear. They'll say, "You're the good guy, and look over there. There's the bad guys. Those are the bad guys. And they're the ones that we need to attack. They're the ones we need to destroy. If we get rid of them, it'll be a better world." Well, all of a sudden, what you've done is you've taken a united humanity and divided them, and now they're in opposing camps. And the person that's dividing them is the criminal. It is not the person in the opposing camps. We have lost the ability for civil discourse. We've lost the ability to talk with each other in reasonable tones. Once you decide, well, that guy's a demon. I've got to, he's got to be eliminated. Well, isn't that what religious fanaticism does? It says these demons must be destroyed. And if those demons are the Christians, you go after the Christians. If those demons are the Islams, then you go after them. The Islamists.
Or if those demons are MAGA, you go after MAGA. See, like, do you
Right,
see where we're
right.
going with this,
In
folks?
in Germany, it was the Jews. Once you demonize someone, you become a Nazi. That's the principle that applies in each of these cases.
Doesn't matter
Is
what your skin
once
color
you
is.
demonize someone, it's okay to do whatever you want to them because they're not equal to us. Racism is the same.
Yeah,
You know,
the
if
same thing.
if you pretend that all men are not created equal, that men and women are not equal, if you pretend that me good, you bad, then that authorizes you to act in an immoral way towards that other individual because they're bad. It's okay. You can, that's not going to improve the world. It's going to make it a worse place. And the criminal ultimately will have your face. You'll be looking in the mirror one day and maybe realize that you're the one that has done evil thinking it was good. And that's a terrible place to be because if you're honest with yourself and you want to truly be a good person, now you face having to do your best to make reparations. Any alcoholic that goes through AA knows one of the steps is you've got to make amends with the people that you harmed. And I hope that we all can, as a nation and a world, make amends with the people that we've harmed. And I'm not trying to polarize people. I'm trying to repair the rift between us and help us to see that it was created on intentionally to
Yes.
divide and conquer, to steal our power, to
They
adopt
were
power
trying to
for their
provoke a
own.
civil war. They were trying to provoke both sides into a fucking civil war, and it was clear as day in that document we read from that fucking
Right,
website.
right,
Clear as fucking day.
right.
That should be a
Exactly.
lesson to all of us not to freaking allow ourselves to be divided so easily by false narratives, whatever side they may be coming from.
Right. That's right. That's
And
right.
that's why it's incumbent on all of us to do our due diligence, use common sense, reason, logic, discernment, figure out the truth from there. You shouldn't be getting your truth, what's true or not, from any one source, because all sources can be corrupted potentially. The only way, the best way, is to do your research. Fortunately, we have the internet these days, okay, a lot faster than it used to be,
Yeah,
for
of
our
course,
ancestors.
the internet of today is not the internet of yesterday.
But
Yesterday,
there's
the
no
internet
excuse. We can't be
mostly told the
we can't be
truth
doing our
years
research.
ago. You know,
Right, exactly.
these days, well, I read it on the internet, so it must be true.
You know what I found? You have to pull your information from multiple independent sources, as independent as you can get. If you can match up certain data points, and then you have to watch out though, because they do use this principle against us when it comes to creating the false narrative. If you look at the prioritized Google results, you have to also be able to watch out for that, because that is a thing.
Right, right. That's what I
However,
was just about to
the
get to.
general principle, speaking of, is you use discernment, try and find multiple independent sources that verify the same information that aren't obviously hijacked, of course.
And of course, I don't know if people saw our broadcast on how Google was hijacked, but we did a whole show on how Google was hijacked and skewed the results, skewed the
When did we
search
do that?
results
I
to
forgot. That was a
push their
while
own
ago now.
propaganda. You
When
recall
did
we
we
did
do
the
that?
show, remember?
How long ago was that? I can't even remember. It seems like
Oh
forever.
gosh. It's been about 6 months, seems like.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like right when I was first starting to train you guys on how to go live on Streamlabs.
Yeah, and you were like, are you aware? I was like, yeah, I'm aware, but we need to talk about this. And
Right.
because the major search engines, the major social media are, were and still are being manipulated, and badly manipulated during the whole debacle with the whole that horrible time when the government was telling the social media sites, you must lie, you must suppress the truth. We can't use the word misinformation because it's true. We can't use the word disinformation because it's
Oh,
true.
they
We have
came
to
up
use
with
the word
malinformation.
malinformation, which means
Yes,
it's true, but we don't like it.
it's
And
true, but we don't like it.
it's true, but we don't like it. So we're suppressing that information.
An
And
to
so
quote my board,
Facebook
an
was lying,
inconvenient
Google was
truth.
lying, Twitter was lying, everybody was lying. All the major media were lying, all
What do
the
you what
social
do
media
you
was lying.
what do
So
you call? What's
so
another
there's
way of
that
saying?
problem too that we've got to cope with. What
Sorry, I was
search
gonna say
results can you trust?
what's another way of saying malinformation in 2 words? An inconvenient truth, or no, 3 words,
Hmm.
or 2 words, inconvenient truth. It's inconvenient. It's something that's true that's inconvenient that you
Yeah.
don't like.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was trying to poke fun at Al Gore's an inconvenient truth for a minute there.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
kind of trolling at the same time, but yeah. Anyways,
Yeah. Well, there's some debate about what the truth is about some of the stuff he was talking about.
well, no, I do believe that there is. We could myself personally, I do believe we should be conscious of the environment stuff, but
Oh, I do too. One of the things that breaks
what the
my
whole
heart.
Green New Deal thing is about, that's a whole fucking scam, dude. That's not even a legit fucking. They're not. They're causing more damage than fucking they're actually preventing in that scenario, in my opinion.
Well, I
So
mean,
I'm not against it
it's
being
it's
for the
it's hard
environment.
for me because I am a staunch environmentalist. I think that that one of the things the Trump administration has done is open up logging in our national forests, and that really breaks my heart. I love trees. I always have. I love nature. And it's hard for me to hear
Wait,
that and watch that and be aware of that because we don't have enough respect for the other species on this planet as a species. This is my firm conviction and belief. We need to be respecting all of the species on our planet, and we don't have that at all. We look at ourselves, again, this is a case where we look at ourselves as superior and all those others as the inferior. And so it's okay to do whatever we want to them. Well, we're doing the same thing to people. When we
yeah,
say, I'm on the correct side and they're on the wrong side, so it's okay to do with them what I will. That's
not
what we do
okay.
to other species all the
We
time.
do it all the time to other
And
species. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, most people don't really understand the language of trees, but a tree can sit in one place all of its life, and it records the entire growth and development of the world around it. And if
It
you can
does.
communicate with that tree, you can learn from it what wherever you are, wherever that tree is, what it knows and what it saw during its growth all the way back. You watch whole cities develop.
Wasn't there a scientific study done on this that they proved that didn't they prove that, I think?
I don't know because I'm just talking about my own experience talking to trees. But
I'm pretty sure I've seen
what
some sort of
drives
some sort of
because
study where they prove that that's the truth. Because like were they saying to trees or plants or something and monitoring where as opposed to not, and like and they
well
trees communicate.
they do know that trees are telepathic. They do know that. You can read The Secret Life of Plants if you want to, and it really goes into it. A guy named Baxter hooked up electrodes to a leaf, and he was trying to figure out, okay, let's see, how can I get a reaction from this leaf? He was a lie detector specialist. He said, how can I get a reaction from this leaf? He was like, cut it. Let's see, I'll put ice on. I know, I'll burn it. As soon as he thought, I'll burn it, there was a dramatic response from the plant. So he began to research, well, are plants telepathic?
Yes,
The
that's
answer
the
is yes.
study that I was
The
talking
answer
about.
is
I
yes,
heard about
they
that.
are.
Yeah.
And so what people need to understand is we are innately telepathic. We can walk into a room and there'll be someone there that we go, God, I don't like that person. Or wow, I'm in love, and that's an instantaneous connection that has to do with the auric field, the life field of each of us interacting with the life field of each other. Well, trees are a big life field that's there the whole time, and that life field is living. It has all and it has sense organs. The whole tree is covered in sense organs. It can see and feel and know its environment, and one of them is to know the field, which thought fields are an aspect of the life field. So it's aware of all the thoughts and feelings. If somebody made love under that tree 20 years ago, that tree knows that, and if you can talk to the tree, you can know, you can understand, you can see
All
that event. You can,
right.
this is the
Let's
reality of what we're capable of as human beings. But
yes, we are
culturally, we
capable.
deny ourselves our own magnificence because, one, we are
Conditioning.
suppressed intentionally by the educational system, by the medical system, by the political system. We are intentionally suppressed, intentionally dumbed down, so we don't know of our own capacities. And two, culturally, we grow up in an environment where you're taught, oh, you don't, that person that you're seeing, Aunt Beverly that died 3 years ago, that came to your bedside and is talking to you, she's not real. That's imaginary. Forget that. That. Oh, no, 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 that didn't happen. Forget that. These, you saw fairies. Well, they're not real. Don't, ignore that. So we're taught from a very young age to filter the world through the cultural filter that our family and our friends and our society
Yes.
considers appropriate, so that we don't have the full capacity of what we're capable of at all, because we're filtering at an unconscious level before we're even perceiving the world. The world is coming at us with all this data. Your aura is clearly visible to anyone who processes the information through the visual cortex, as is mine. But if we don't know how to process it through the visual cortex, we're not going to see it. And I'll stop there.
I wanted to add something on that's going to dovetail nicely. And in realizing that, folks, we can begin to undo the brainwashing and demonization that we've been taught and misled into falling for, and then once again come together as a united citizenry and fight back against the actual corruption and manipulation going on behind the scenes, because clearly it's not. It's somebody's trying to provoke us here, folks. It's obvious based on what we just witnessed today on this with these documents.
Population
So
is being manipulated. Your
let's not be divided because of false narratives. Please.
Please.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
I'm gonna just hold on.